Hello YouTube, this is Helltechpc here. Gonna give you a tutorial on how to shop at Newegg.com. Today's rig, we're gonna put a $1,000 gaming PC. So let's get started. We're gonna use the computer case this time for our first item. We're gonna hit the mid tower, but there is 6 of them: micro ATX, mid tower ATX, full tower ATX, mini ITX, gaming cases, and media center cases. Most gamers pick the mid tower or the full tower. The other ones are for LAN parties and specified gaming rigs. So we're going to pick a mid tower ATX. Now, tell you how to use our search results to narrow our search down, because we can think of a million cases here for mid tower. So we're going to hit new, limit for 710 cases. Once it's done loading. Here we go. Because this is going to be a $1,000 build, we do not have $1 million to spend, so we're going to spend between $50 and $100. That limit down our range of cases we're going to pick. Now, not every case is almost the same. Not almost the same. It looks. It has different bays. You can put hard drives, SSDs. Each case has different types of motherboard it can fit into it. We're gonna pick one with ATX, not micro ATX or extended ATX, but just ATX in general. So once I find a good case, we'll pick our case and head on down through. Aha, I see right here. Oh, it's out of stock. I always gotta read that. Sometimes they're out of stock. They should really displace them if they're not out of stock. Let's see what our next thing is. Each case, I'm just looking for a good numbers, a good eggs. Those are people who actually do a review on it, and it tells if it's a good case. But I'm kind of looking at one that's kind of a sleek design, good reviews, good price tag, and looks cool. That's an all a plus to me. And I don't want it too cheap one, but to a horrible expensive one either. Aha, that's 22. That looks cool, but only 3 eggs. I mean, not saying it's a bad one. I'm just saying I like to have something that's more than just 2 or 3 eggs. Like I said, some of these cases you're saying, oh, they're fine, that's fine, that's fine. Why don't you pick those? I'm just picking one that's good. Oh, I see here. I see the Corsair Carbide Series 400R Granite Gray ATX mid tower case, gaming case. And it has some good reviews, and it looks nice. Look at that. 2 fans in the front. Looks like you have up the top for fans. You have on the side. Let's see here. It has 2 3.0 USBs in the front, which should be right there in the front. It has, looks like 4 external bays and 6 internal bays, which is nice. The mid tower ATX. And this is for you to watch. Power supply is on the bottom, which I like the power supply on the bottom. It does not come with the power supply. Now, this is where you have to watch right here. It says motherboard capability. Micro ATX and ATX. If you have an ITX, ITX will not fit in this case. It says micro ATX and ATX. We're going to go with ATX. The reason I prefer ATX is because ATX is slightly bigger. It has more capabilities. You can add ons to that. Micro ATX is smaller. The heat is more condensed in one area, which can cause heat problems to the thing. That's just my opinion. I've seen it happen with people's micro ATX boards, and it kind of overheats, not enough cooling, and it's just smaller. I have big hands. People, first case computer builds, they just want the bigger one so they can add more stuff if they need it. Mostly you're going to want to add more RAM, more graphics cards, or etc. etc. Increase your processor and all that. So we're going to stick with ATX. I just prefer ATX. This case does have a air filter, removable air filter. You can put SSDs in here, and 6 hard drives, hard disk drives. It is 15 pounds. For cooling areas, it does have two 120s front white LED fans in the front and 120 in the back. I think we're going to add another 120 on the top. It's a good case. I'm not going to bash the case because I prefer it has one on the top, at least a 120 on the top. But we're going to add that to the build, so have plenty of airflow in this PC for your gaming rig. These are just extra features it has in here, already built in for your SSDs. It can do 10 mount locations for 120s, 6 120s or /140s. And this right here, it can only support a 316 millimeter length of a modern GPU. So, alright, this looks like a pretty good case. We're going to add this to our cart. Now we're going to add some fans. Before I forget, we're going to hit case fans. I'm looking something that's for 120. Now, each case here, each fan case has a different RPM. The more RPM you have, the cooler it's going to be. We're going to add one on the top, pushing upward. So we want at least 1,000 RPMs. You get 4 of them for $15. That's not bad, and it's Coolmaster is a name brand. You could do 140, which is you could do that at $16. It looks nicer. You can do LEDs if you want, but it's going to be pointing up, pointing out, so LEDs you may not want. 2,000 RPMs, long sleeve, $8 for one. It has 230 at basically 4 eggs out of 5. It is a 120. Silent fan, by the way. So we're going to add this to our build. It has a 2,000 RPM, so it pushes more air out. It's cheap, long life. It's Coolmaster, and it's silent cooling. We're going to be good here, but let's just check, make sure capabilities are fine. The motherboard. It's a 3 to 4 pin adapter, which is good. That's what our motherboard's going to have, so no problems there with the power. Oh, and some of our Molex, some are 3 or 4 pins, which is good. But certain ones will have certain connectors. If you don't have them, well, you have to buy an adapters, or you have to buy a new fan. We're going to add this to cart. Alright, now it's time to search for our motherboard. Now this depends on where you want to go. If you want to go with AMD or Intel. How I prefer Intel over AMD any day of the week. But some gaming, cheaper builds, you want to do AMD. Today we're going to do an Intel. At the end of the video, I will just pick the parts out for AMD for you, so you know AMD parts are going to fit. They're slightly different. The sockets are like AM3 for AMD. Intel's like 1150 sockets. Some are different, and if you don't pick the right one, the processor will not fit in your motherboard right. So today, right now, the first part, we're going to pick Intel board. Now, as you see, it says right here, CPU socket type. If you pick 1155 and the processor is 1150, it will not fit. So if I pick 1150, it has to be 1150 processor, or otherwise it won't fit. Now, Each socket, each year's past, some of these will go out of date. Like for an example, 1155, even though they still sell some of them, they're practically out of date. Right now, people are using 1150s, in the 2011s, in the 2011 V3. Those are the most high-end sockets for boards. They're still making 1150s. They're not making 1155s anymore. That's an old generation of chipset. So we're going to hit the 1150 because we're going for a cheaper build. If I was going to about 2000, then I'd want the 2011 chipset for more high-tech capabilities. You can still go with the 1150 for high-tech, but if you're going to 2000, I'd see the 2011, the V3 versions actually better than the 1150s. Just a better preference. We're going to hit new. Eliminate some of the open box and the refurnished because we don't want to use one. We want a new one. For motherboard, some people say, oh, you need like a $400 motherboard to be a gaming. No, you don't. There's only like between 1 and 3% frames per second boost by having a high-end board, but it really isn't much. 3% of 60 is like what? 2, 3, 4 frames per second? You're not going to see a difference over that. You're not. You're just not. So we're going to go between $50 and $200. That seems pretty good. We're not going to go 200, but we're going to go about 100 range. I prefer boards of an Asus and Gigabyte. That's just my preference. I've seen boards of Masai and ASRock fail. Does not mean that yours won't. I've just been bad luck with them, and I don't like their customer support, so I prefer Asus and Gigabyte over the rest. But if you want the characteristics putting a computer together, it's the same as any brand of boards. So we're going to hit Asus and Gigabyte. Whoops, Gigabyte didn't click. You have to do this fast, otherwise it won't click right. Alright, so we have 89 things, roughly, of price range, or 71. So let's see here what we have here. We have a $100 Gigabyte board. Yep, and it's ATX, not micro ATX, like I said. Asus and Gigabyte are the two best ones I prefer, like I had said. Let's see if I can find one that has good eggs, and it's a good price range. You don't really need the best boards for a gaming. You really don't. Mini ITX, that won't fit, you see. If I collect that board, my shit wouldn't work in my motherboard. My case, sorry, my case. Let's see here. This one looks, that's micro ATX. Let's do this a little better to hit ATX here. So it's only going to show ATX, so I don't have to worry about clicking micro ATX or ITX. Alright, let's see here. I'm seeing 196 for an Asus. $140, a little much for it, but we're going to probably get good stuff out of this board. And it looks nice. It's dual channel. It has some good USBs. Looks like it has integrated, but we'll find out. This is a Z7 board. The Z's usually means you can overclock them. We're not overclocking this build. You could, I guess, if I get the K series of the processor, but we'll support that a little later. It can support i3, i5, i7, the 1150 socket, which is good. So let's see the specs. It's a Forge, like I said, dual channel. The max RAM you can put in here is 32 gigabytes. These are the max specifications for your RAM. You have specific RAM. 240 pin, which is a good. The PCI is 3.0 times 16, which is a good. You could really SLI in this board. It has two PCI 1, and so you could actually add a wireless card. You could add a capture card to this, or USBs, an adapter for PCI slots, up to 2 of them, so you have 8 more USBs if you desperately wanted to. It does support, which I like, by the way, integrated graphics, We're going to use dedicated graphics. So people are like, oh no, we don't want dedicated. This is gaming, right? No, I'm not. We're not. We're doing dedicated, not integrated. But I like integrated with the board. If your graphics card fails, at least you can get on your computer with the integrated part until your dedicated video card gets replaced. That's my philosophy. Anyone I build for computers with, my friends, family, customers who come into me and say, hey, I want a computer, give me a computer, work desk. I try to support the integrated graphics. Sometimes I have to modest that for the better good, for greater good. The RAID zeros, we're not going to talk about RAID 0. I don't like RAID 0. It's faster, but you kind of lower your recovery stuff with RAID 0. Some people don't know how to back up their stuff, so it does have 4 SATA 6 gigabytes as a SATA Express socket, which I'm actually kind of shocked because most boards don't have that, even when I usually see. So that's good. It has an M2 socket with 3 with M key. I'm not too familiar with that. I don't do too much with that. It does have nice wireless. Not wireless, sorry. Max speeds of 10 megs per second, 100 megs per second, 1000 megs per second. If you have 100 meg speed and you only have the 10, you're not going to get the full power of your internet. Because this board is a good board, it has 1 gigabyte speeds. Most computers won't even, internet these days in people's household doesn't have that. If you want to go higher, you're looking at a server board. For ports, it has 4 3.0s, 2 2.0s, which is really good. I'm glad it has better 3.0s than 2.0s. It has 1 optimal port, my bad, I'm sorry. It has a display port and HDMI, but unfortunately, and EVID and Vega. Unfortunately, and a mouse and keyboard port all in one. We're going to dedicate it so these ports don't really affect us too much unless you're using it integrated. You see, it has a power button. It has a CMOS jumper, so if you mess up your BIOS, you can refix that. 8-pin power connector, which on top of your board, you're going to need that if your power supply. 24-pin, which is good. Thunderbolt header, which is 5-pin. That's pretty good. Let's see, I don't see a fan. It's probably not listed. I did see a fan. Oh, optimal fan, so you can use your water cooler if you want to. I do not see a fan connector, which I'm really kind of disappointed. Oh, I see. 4-pin, 3-pin. I just don't see. Sometimes boards don't always show it, which I get really pissed off when it does. All of you over here. System fan. It has at least 2, so you're fine with that. Some boards don't always list it, which I really hate when they don't list it. But this is a good board, so we're going to add this to cart. Alright, now we're going to pick our processor. Now, because this is the gaming build, we're going to go with an i5. We could go with an i7 build, but we're trying to lower, the price, so we have a good graphics card in here. Like I said, it's going to be Intel, because we did an Intel board. It's going to be 1150 socket, so it's going to be 1150 socket. We want this shit new. Oh, I guess they're all coming new anyway, I guess. We want a quad core, because a dual core is just not cutting it with us. We're going to want an i5, because we're going with gaming. Now we're looking for something at 3.0 plus. Now fortunately there's only a few here. There's more than a few here, I guess. There's one page of it. But we're going to go with an i5, 3.0 at least, and a good price range. Since our board is capable of overclocking, we're going to pick one with overclocking. It's unlock multiplier. It's a K series, so you can. It's a i5 4690K Devil's Canyon quad core 3.5. Usually boosts to like 3.8 or 4.0, 3.9. Has 4 threads, quad core. Core name is Devil's Canyon. Two, yeah, 256 L2 cache, 6 MB L3 cache. It's a 22 nanometer, 64-bit. Its hyper-threading is enabled, yes. It has integrated graphics, which is good. It's going to match your motherboard. It does reversion to 3.0. Heat sink is included, so you do not need a water cooler. But maybe we'll add a water cooler to this. Just maybe. Just maybe we'll add a water cooler to this. It depends how much money in our build. So yeah, that's a pretty good price range. Just add this to cart. It's going to fit. Now let's think about our RAM. Now, like I said, I make sure that this RAM, each RAM is a little different. 1600s are pretty good fast for our RAM, but I prefer 1800 or 3200 DDR3. We're gonna go with probably 8 sticks. I'm not 8 sticks, 8 gigs of memory, because I think that is a standard for me for gaming. Any gaming is 8 minimal. You could do with 4, but you're not gonna get better than a PS4 by adding only 1 stick of 4 or 2 sticks of 2 or whatever. So, alright, that's gonna be our specifications. Now you could always copy this, paste and go. Put this over here. Whoops. My bad, it happens all the time. This is a little cheat I've learned. A trick, not really a cheat. We can go over here. Now we're going to pick our memory. Desktop memory. Now, because there's so much RAM, there's so much things here, we're going to hit power search this time. We're looking between $25, obviously you want more than $25, up to, I'd say $200, new. Now, Ada, I never tried Ada. I've heard so many good things about it, so we're trying to hit that to see what we can get. A G-Skill is a good one. Kingston's a good thing for your RAM. Corsair, Crucial. Pony, I heard, is a pretty darn good one. I've never had a problem with them. Not yet anyway, I guess, right? There's probably a few here you may prefer. I mean, any RAM will not really just do just certain RAM I prefer. You can pick any really one of these, and, you know, I prefer hitting the ones I prefer. You know, it just works much better, and I get good experience with that. Now, because it's a 32, remember, it's a 32 max, but we're going to go with 2 sticks of 4. If you want to upgrade to 16, you can just add this again and get the same thing. Now it's a 240 type. If you put 288 DDR3, this is not going to fit. Make sure it's DDR3. Now it's DDR3 at 1600. I am not going to go learn to 1600. So you can go a little higher. Go to 1866. Does that have it? Yes, it does. It's a 3000. 2933. Yes, this board is a really good board. It actually has quite a bit here. Yep, it does support this. 282, 688. Yep, does it? Yes, it does. 2400. Yes, it does. 2133. Yes, it looks like it supports 2000. Yep, I thought it's one I saw that. Oops, not hitting it right. 18. Yep, it does support that. So what's all we're gonna hit? Or not? We could go probably the 1333. But unfortunately, we're not going to do that. And the reason I'm not doing that is because it's a lower megahertz of RAM speed if you're, your thing. So, all right, let's hit search and let's see what we get. All right, since we know this is going to fit, we picked the one that's going to fit. It has 2 sticks of 4 for $58. This is minimal. I'm looking for something a little more powerful. You could go with the X series, Jaw X series, 8 gigs, 242, and it's 1866. My bad, I can't speak today. And it is $67. one down here, the timings. Actually, this one here is slightly faster. That one has a little more eggs, and this is only $1 more. So it's slightly faster. We're gonna pick the blue one because I think it looks vengeance. It sounds better. You can hit red. Whoa, it's a little more expensive. And that's blue's the cheapest one we can get. So we're just gonna go with the cheapest one. You know, for the colors. The colors don't matter to me, but it may matter to you as much. So we're gonna add to cart. All right. Now we're at $549. Now we're going to add. Since we're here, I'm also add the more software operating system. Now, because we're going to go the fastest one possible, the better operating system it's going to last. This will change and over time, especially over time, because operating systems right now, Windows 10 is coming out to buy soon, hopefully. And that is actually, they say, lower footprint than Windows 8. Now, Windows 7, it has problems. It can't support 4K, so if you decide to go 4K, you're not going to be able to run Windows 7. This is a gaming computer. You want the lowest operating system footprint on your hardware. So Windows 8 is good. 8.1 is the same thing, basically. It's just a higher version of it. We do not need the Pro version unless you're really planning on doing other features that Windows 8.1 Professional has. You could do it with a price, but because it's gaming, Pacific Gaming, we're only going to do 64-bit OME. OME you're going to need because the simple fact it's not an upgrade. It's a one computer has nothing. It's OME means it's just you have to have it. How do I say that correctly? OME basically means to a computer has no operating system. That's when you install it. It's the full version. If you have an upgrade, means you have to have an operating system. So if you have an operating system laying around, you put that Windows 7 in, you buy the upgrade here, and they can upgrade it to 8.1. That's how that works. Windows 8.1 has better security, so we're going to add 8.1. It's a more updated one than Windows 7. Alright, it's $648 pretty much, so we're going to add now a video card. Now, video cards, I prefer NVIDIA over AMD any day of the week. We're going to hit new. We're not going to spend $600 on a graphics card. We're not. We could go with the 660. The 660 is had 960 cores from a Zeus, which I prefer a Zeus. You could SLI it. It's ready. 2 gigabytes of video memory. 192-bit, which is pretty good because most are 120. It has the G-Sync support. So if you have a G-Sync monitor, it'll actually help it clear more with software. It's GTX, so it's a recent one. 3.0 times 16, which is good. All our shit's going to fit that. You could go with different ones. There's a gigabyte EVA. There's a 7... Like for an example, you can actually look at the CS GTX 750 versus this 660. Now it looks like the 660 runs a bit better than this GTX 750. Now we're going to hit compare because I haven't done this yet with you guys. We're going to hit compare these two cards. We're going to hit compare. One of these is going to be a better one to use. It can support monitor. It's in stock. It's a gigabyte versus Zeus. This is the 750 is a 3.0. This one's a 3.0. It's just times 6. The 750 Ti. This is a 650. 2 gigs of memory. The core clock here is slightly higher, but it's not making much of a difference. It really isn't. This one has 960 CUDA cores. This one has 640. Both have 2 gigs. The interface is 192, which is better than the 128. Both DDR5 memory. This one does have 2 HDMI. This one has 1 HDMI. Both have 2 DVI, but with the 750, it actually has a much better fan. The WindForce times 2 is a much better with just a regular fan. This minimal requirements is a 400 watt power supply. I'm assuming this is 400 watt Zoo or 450. It's a 6-pin. This looks like this is not SLI. I'm not saying this could be SLI. But this is SLI ready. The 660. to me is 11, DirectX 11, which is good. I'm assuming this is DirectX 11.2 being the 750 Ti. OpenGL 4.2 is good. 400 megahertz. The resolution is over 1080p. SLI is ready, so you can SLI this card. You can dual link it. The millimeters is going to fit. I honestly think that this GTX 660 is a much better card to have. So we're going to add to cart. Now our thing is about almost $800. Now we're going to need an optimal drive, which is going to be like our CD readers. We're going to pick not this here OME, the Samsung DVD burner. It reads and writes, rewritables. You don't need the expensive one unless you want to do a Blu-ray, which Blu-ray, I'd probably prefer this in a Zeus here, or this LG right here. Being as it has 305, Samsung's a name brand, and it's 4 out of 5, 305 reviews. It has 5, and there's only 3, and that tells me that this Samsung is much better than Light On, and Light On is not an actual name brand. So we're going to add this one for the $18 price. Now we're going to add a hard drive, or an internal hard drive. Now, there's a thing called SSDs and regular hard drive. Because our price is $800, we actually could add an SSD here. But with the SSD, you don't have the naturally memory to have with the thing, unless you're paying like $300 for getting some good memory with your SSD. They've gotten cheaper over the years, and probably even cheaper over the time. But because this is more of a budget build, we're gonna go with a regular hard drive. You don't really need SSDs. You don't. So we're gonna hit a regular hard drive. I prefer the Western Digital over Seagate. That's just my opinion. You guys can oh, I think Seagate's better if those fanboys are saying it, but that's up to you. I just had one Seagate once before, and it had failed on arrival, and the box wasn't damaged, so I doubt it came from them damaged. Now, that we were saying, why is there blue? Why is there black, or red and stuff, right? Well, each one is faster. Each one is slower. Because it's a gaming rig, and we have a good price range right now, I think the Western Digital Black Series is going to be a little faster, a little better than what you have. We're going to go, let's see, 500 gig is a few dollars more, but you're better off with 1 terabyte. It's faster, 5-year limited warranty, which is good. It's a little more fast than the other ones. Yep, 72 RPM, which is good. 64 MB cache, and it's the 3.5, so you know it's going to fit in our case. Most people don't realize that. We're going to add this to cart. Now our price is $890. That gives it $110 for the one thing we're missing, and that is the power supply. I usually kind of do power supplies near last, so you know how much power I'm going to get. We don't need like a 500, 550, and it's probably a little overkill. You could really do a 450, probably 500. I would do more less than 500. Because your graphics card, your processor, but because I will go a little overboard on just a little power. So if you want another power supply to another hard drive, if you want another graphics card SLI it, or if you want another processor in there, or more RAM, or even all of them, you're going to need more power. And I hear it all the time. They need to replace the power supply too because they ain't have enough power for it, or it overheats and blows because 100 power, using 100% of your power at all times, it wears really fast. So we're going to go between a 600 watt and a 1000 watt. This build's not SLI, so I'm going to add a little less to 600. That is a really good range for it. 600 to 800 is a good range for it. We're going to hit new because we're not going to have that refurnished stuff. No way, I ain't doing that. Let's see here. If it goes up fast enough. Now, probably $50 to $100, I think, is a pretty good range for it. Hell, I'll just hit 200. Just because. Might find a $110 one, it's worth a lot more. Now we're going to hit here. Now, and there's a few brands I prefer. If you pick a low brand, it may not have the right ones that you're looking for. So I usually use Antec, Cooler Master. I do not hit Cool Max. Don't get Cool Master and Cool Max mixed up. Corsair, EVGA, Gigabyte, Roswell, Raid Max is an okay one, Thermaltake, and that is the only ones I prefer. Now some say, well, Seasonic USA is better. I don't know. I just prefer these ones right here. Apply air filters. I don't say air filters. Alright, you see the $113. This is a 750 watt fully modular, 4th generation, 10-year warranty, EVGA, and it's 80 plus gold. But we're looking for something a little less. Like I said, $1,000 is our build. You're probably saying, well, you want the higher stuff, man. You can just go a little above the build. I would pick this one that has a 125-star rating, but because I'm looking for a little cheaper, and I just hit this one here. It's $100, 750 watt, fully modular, 80 plus gold. It's going to be pretty good. It says here you can do 650. You can do a little cheaper, but because 750, you have more capabilities, and it's not going to hurt anything having this much anyway. Like I said, it's a continuous. It's a 135 silent fan, 24 pin, which we need for our motherboard. It has 6 plus 2 pin, 4 times of them for your graphics card. You can actually get converters for Molex or whatever. It is SLI ready. It's modular, yes. The response time is milliseconds, which is good. Efficiency up to 92%. The voltage is pretty good. It's a 62.5. RAM and Braille. It's an 8 pin. You're going to need that one. You're going to need the PCI. 5 pin SATA connector, which is good. 4 pin, which can be your Molex, which is good for your fans if you need it. A floppy connector, it's like 3.5 floppy A's. No one uses that. It'd be just in there in a box sitting there unless you have one. This is a really good power supply, and it actually has 28, it's at 5, and Roswell is a pretty good power supply. So we're going to add to cart. Now our cart is now $990.90. And look, we got here. We got the Samsung DVD burner. We got the good case. We got the hard drive, which is good too, which you're going to get better frame rates than the original blue. We got the Zeus 660 GTX with G-Sync, which is a good card. You're going to get 60 frames per second on most cards. The 750 watt, it's overkill a bit, but you can add more stuff to you in the future. Future-proof this stuff real good. You got the 8 gigs of Corsair Vengeance. You got the Zeus motherboard, ATX, which is a good board. It's a good high-end board. Not high-end board, but it's a mid-high-end board. You know, it's good enough for our stuff. We got the i5 with hyper-threading, 3.5 to 3.9 gigahertz. We got Windows 8. If you already have one of these, you can actually add a water cooler to this. If you wanted to, but we're not going to add it because it's our price limit of $990 of 1,000. So, and one extra fan for our top for our radiators, and it kind of matches our smoky color, so it kind of matches our case, which is cool. I see Newegg did not give us a gift. Those cheap bastards. Nah, Newegg's good. Newegg's good. Last few days, every time I added things to this, I've always got like 2 or 3 things of gifts from them. So sometimes you get lucky and have more. Now you're seeing, well, Helltechpc here. You're not talking about the rebates. You could actually buy a better processor, even probably even close to the i7 with all those rebates. You got 10, 30. That's $40. A $40 rebate. You could actually definitely buy a water cooler with this and be slightly over. Well, I could, but usually when I do PC builds, 99% of the time, I do get my mail-in rebate back. I don't include them out of the build. Some people do, but I don't, because you're not always guaranteed those. And some people don't even worry about it. some people, if you don't do it right, you don't get them back. So I prefer, don't add them minus in the build. I just hate that. You know, I just hate it. And this thing is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. Hands down. Hello, this is part 2 of the Newegg tutorial. How to ship a Newegg. We're going to do the AM build now. What to do there. So let's get started. Since the Intel, this is Intel board and the Intel processor, this has to be removed. The RAM, I'm going to try to keep it. You may see if maybe I can fit 1866 with that. So we're going to go to, first we're going to go processors. I prefer processors first. That's just my opinion. We're going to do the AM3 socket, because AM3 sockets, you can do AM2, but I'm looking for the FX versions. So we're going to go with a 6-core. Well, it could do an 8-core Vista Black Edition for $179. But we're going to go with the FX 6300 6-core 3.5 to 4.1 turbo boost. Let's see, it does come with a heat sink. It's 95 watts. As you see, it's a little lower than the Intel. The L2 cache is 2 MB cache times 3 for 6 cores. Go figure, right? And then A3 MP2 cache. This is about equivalent to an i5. It does not have hyperthreading. That'd be the little problem there, but it's a 6-core. I mean, so it has more cores than the Intel. I like Intel more than AMD, but AMD is still a pretty good board, you know, Intel brand. So we're going to add that to build. Now we're going to add the motherboard, which is really simple to do this. AMD boards. We're going to FM3. Like I said, the socket has to be the same, so it's going to be an AM3 Plus. We're going to use a Zeus and a Gigabyte, because that's what I prefer only. I don't... Oh, I'm sorry, ASRock. They change that on me all the time. Let's see here. It's 26 boards I can use for FM3. We're going to use, let's see here. Let's see if I can, I believe mine is 18. This is actually not bad, actually, because 1866. It's a dual. Yeah, it doesn't, yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It has some good fan connectors. We're going to head here. Yes, it can fit my RAM, which is good. Dual channel, 32 gig. It's 240-bit. Like I said, my other RAM do that. The processor I picked was AM3 FX, so it's going to fit. This can fit a graphics card. Oh, it's a 2.0, so you're actually slightly bottlenecking your graphics. Ooh, that's kind of bad. I didn't see that part. Ooh, I don't think I like this board. Let's see if I can find something with a 3.0. 2.0. 2.0. Wow, this is actually... It's actually kind of depressing. Let's see what this has. Hopefully it has a 3.0. Times 16. It's not too bad of a board. It does no onboard graphics though. That's why I don't like AMD. It does have one fan header, CPU fan header. Yes, good. I ought to have that. Seamless jumper. Yeah, okay. Not as great as Intel. I prefer Intel. This is why you see it. It can fit my motherboard still. My program, sorry. My graphics card you fit in here just fine. It shouldn't be underclocked, or bottlenecked, should say. Really shouldn't be. It's a gigabyte board, so you know it's gonna be legit. So add this to cart. We have $800. Obviously, you see, and it's still, you get a $40 rebate with that, so it's going to be 700 and something versus the 1,000. This is roughly the equivalent to the i5. And it's 6-core, it doesn't have hyper-threading. The motherboard is kind of slightly lower, but even with the higher boards, you're not going to see much of a 3.0, at least much. I can look. Let's see if I can look, see if I can find it. I kind of feel awful getting a cheap end board for that. I may actually have to spend much more money for AM3. We're going to go with a $100 to $200 board because I think we're not going to see it until a 3.0 until we hit that. Actually, I do not see a 3.0 board. It might be that I don't think it's going to be a bottleneck that much, so you should be good with this anyway. Let's see here now, because since the fact we have a 6-core, it is AMD. Let's just throw an SSD in here, make it a little faster here, because we can do it. Yeah, we're saving some money. We can actually do, oh gosh, new. Kind of rushed through this video. It's a little long video. I don't usually make but more than 40-minute videos. We're gonna go with let's do here Corsair, Crucial, Jigsaw, ScanDisk, Samsung, Kingston, Tabasha. Do not see Western Digital. Apply filters. 154, 256. That's a pretty good one. It's 550 read, 520 write, and it's a Samsung. Samsung's a good board. Not good board, good brand. Sorry, my bad. It's a 5.2, which is going to fit inside the case. It's a SATA 3. Let's see the 512 gives us. Oh, it's $300. It's a little too high than we expected. Add us to cart. Now, what you're saying, well, Helltechpc, what are you doing now? It's a little lower than the other one. You use the SSDs to boot your operating system, and then you use your Black Edition for your hardcore games or anything like that, and you'll be good, man. You'll be good as beans. And it does come with a mounting kit for your first gift, and it only comes with one gift. You can add a water cooler. You don't have to add a water cooler to 6-core. The 8-core I would. That's according to the i7. So 6-core you don't have to add one. It has significant cooling in the case, so I didn't really think of that until I was like, wait a minute, though, it has better cooling than the rest. But yeah, good case, good stuff. $40 rebate. Wait, oh, it's only a $30. Oh, it's still a $40 rebate. So it's gonna be a good stuff. So I hope you like and subscribe. See you next time.